Hi, St. Paul Elementary School. It's Mr. Underwood, and I'm back with episode 15. Can you believe that you and me have done 15 episodes together? Whew, it's been an adventure, hasn't it? Let's see what's special about today. It's Zipper Day. It's World Wish Day. It's We Jumped the World Day. It's Viral Video Day. You know, all them TikToks and things you shouldn't be watching. It's International Noise Awareness Day. Do you know that we measure noise by a unit of measurement called a decibel? It's the same thing that we would use for measuring just how loud something is. It's no different than measuring distance in feet or kilometers. We just use a term called decibels to measure sound, how loud. Do you know that a conversation that you and I would have together is around about 60 decibels? Well, that doesn't mean a whole lot to you, does it? Until you start figuring out that about 80 decibels would be like street traffic. And we're talking like not St. Paul street traffic. We're talking like New York City street traffic. And then when you start getting up in the hundreds, we're talking about like big machinery and then rockets and things like that. So 60 decibels is about a conversation. Now, if you're in a library, it's around about 45 to 50 decibels. It's also National Peace Rose Day. It's Denim Day. I guess that goes with the zippers, doesn't it? It's International Dance Day. Today I'm going to show you how to do a dance. No, just kidding. I don't dance. It's also International Stationery Day. And we are going to do a Mother's Day activity soon, but I thought we could get a jump start since it's National Stationery Day, and I can give you some ideas. And you don't have to have a holiday to do this. I mean, you can make your own stationery wherever you want to. But if you happen to have any old wrapping paper laying around, what you can do is cut it into squares or rectangles, and then take a sheet of paper and cut it into little squares and rectangles, and then just glue it together, and you can make your own stationery. Now, it's nothing fancy, it's nothing special, but you can absolutely take this and write a note on it, put it on the refrigerator. You could make a card with it. You could celebrate someone's birthday with it. So that's an idea if you have some old wrapping paper laying around. It's also International Don't Waste Food Day. Stop Wasting Food Day. All right, so we're going to talk about stop wasting food. Now, wasting food is something that we're all guilty of. We all waste food. And what I want to talk to you about is how does food actually go bad? What causes it to go from this? I mean, that's a perfectly good, delicious orange. What makes it go from this to this? Yeah. This orange has seen better days. It's seen better days. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about what makes food rot. Watch this.
Once food is picked or harvested, it begins to degrade. One of the culprits for this is actually oxygen. Oxygen allows microorganisms to thrive and grow on foods. Microorganisms break down the food for their own chemical uses. All food contains a percentage of water. Microorganisms use the water within food for their own chemical reactions. They need the water to help dissolve the food for energy. As the food spoils, it begins to stink. The release of gases and other chemicals makes the food inedible. You can get very sick from eating spoiled food, so don't.
So as we talked in the video, the main reason why food rots is because of microorganisms. Oxygen lets the microorganisms grow on the food, and then they use the water from the food for their own chemical processes, which causes a chemical chain reaction in the food. Other things that can cause food to rot are exposure to light. Now we're talking about mostly like sunlight. That can cause photo degradation, and that causes discoloration and loss of flavor. It breaks down the proteins. Also, if the temperature is not right, if the temperature increases, that can also cause chemical reactions in the food to increase, which will cause spoilage as well. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that the removal of water by microorganisms and the degradation when food is exposed to light and the chemical reactions produced by higher temperatures, it's not necessarily a bad thing when those three things happen, because you absolutely need those three things to happen, or else food would never rot and spoil. We need food to rot and spoil because that breaks down and goes back into our environment. So anytime that mom or dad throw old food into a compost heap, what they're doing is they're allowing the food to rot and spoil on purpose. As it breaks down through chemical reactions, that compost heap can be used as fertilizer, because whenever the food spoils and rottens and breaks down, it breaks down into its natural components. So those components are basically fertilizer. So you can use your old banana peels to grow your tomatoes. So you do need the process of spoilage to happen. If you don't have spoilage, you pretty much don't have a way to grow other food. The reason why we do have an International Stop Food Waste Day is because about 33% of all food that's produced globally actually is wasted. So that's a third. Think about grandma and grandpa that's growing their garden this year. What if they just threw a third of everything they grew away? That's a lot of time, effort, and energy spent that's just wasted. So 25% of food waste globally, that's not 33%. We're talking only 25% of the 33%. Could feed about 795 million malnourished people in the world. So if we took the 33% and took out 25% of that was wasted food, that 25%, that's a quarter, could actually feed 795 million malnourished or undernourished people in the world. So it's not so much that you need to take your oranges that you're not eating and donate them to a food bank. That's a very good thing to do. Food banks really want non-perishables like canned items. But it is about taking care of the food you have and not going out and buying a brand new orange when you haven't eaten the ones you got. Now, sometimes we buy too much food and it goes bad. That happens. So we need to be a little bit more careful about quantities and how much we do buy and not be so wasteful. I hope you've learned something today, and I hope you've enjoyed this little lesson on how food rots. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for episode 16. I thank everybody, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Everybody take care.